Our text for today is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4. We begin with verse 35 and read through the first verse of the 5th chapter. Mark 4:35. On the same day when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us cross over to the other side." Now when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. But he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, "Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Then they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. And may God bless and use the reading of his word today. There is a town up in Upper East Tennessee by the name of Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is located in Hawkins County and has a population of about 5,000 souls. Like us here in Puryear, that town is barely in the state of Tennessee. Now, this little town, tucked away in Upper East Tennessee, made the national nightly news on CBS News last year. Now, what caused that town to make it on that national newscast? What's so special and different and unique about this town? What's its claim to fame? Mount Carmel, Tennessee is recognized as the only town in the United States that is totally on one side of the road. All its businesses, houses, offices, ball fields, you name it, it's all on one side of the main highway. The reason for this is very simple. On the other side of the highway, the U.S. government owns all that land. And as you know, Uncle Sam likes to hold on to his property. So, because of that, that town cannot annex or buy any land on the other side of the road. Talk about a one-sided town. That town is one-sided. Talk about being landlocked. That town is landlocked. It cannot go over to the other side. It's stuck on one side. Now, with that in mind, let's look at our story today, starting with the promise of Jesus Christ regarding the other side. In verse 35, Jesus says to his disciples, "Let us cross over to the other side." Now, when we say, "Let's go somewhere," we're making travel plans. But when Jesus says, "Let's go somewhere," he's making a travel promise. When we say, "Let's go," we hope to go. But when he says, "Let's go," he will go. When we say, "Let's go," we are expressing a desire to go. But when Jesus says, "Let's go," it's a done deal. So when Jesus told his disciples they were going to the other side, it was going to happen. They were going to make it to the other side. And the same is true of us, folks. When Jesus offers us a trip to the other side, he's not posing a possibility. No, he's giving us a lead pipe cinch promise, which is, you follow me. You go with me. You get in the boat with me, and I'll see to it that you make it to the other side. Secondly, we want to note his presence. regarding the other side. In verse 36, we read of Jesus making the trip in the boat with them. As the disciples made their way to the other side, they were not apart or away from Jesus. They were not separated from Christ. They were not sailing solo, if you will. No, Jesus made the trip with them. Every mile of the trip, every pull and tug of the oar, every lowering and raising of the sail, Jesus was right there in the boat with them. And so it is with us on our trip to the other side. Every step and second of the trip, Jesus is with us. Every movement and move of the trek, Jesus is with us. Every day and every way, He's right there with us. Sunlight or dead of night, high noon, full moon, half moon, quarter moon, blue moon, no moon. It doesn't matter. Jesus Christ is always with us. We always have His presence as we make our way to the other side. And it's a good thing we do, folks, because of our next point, which is our perils and problems. As the disciples are sailing along to the other side, look what happens in verse 37. A great windstorm arose. Waves beat the boat, and the boat filled with water. Now, if that doesn't describe life here on earth, I don't know what does. We're sailing along, happy, healthy, no problems, no cares. We got plenty of chips. We got plenty of dip. We're fat and sassy, hunky-dory, okey-dokey. We're on top of the world. And then it hits the storm, the winds of problems, the waves of perils. And before we know it, the boat of our life is taking on water. It's filling with water. It's floundering with water. It's about to sink. It happened to them. It happens to us. For while Jesus promises that we will make it to the other side, He does not promise us a trip with no problems or perils. Yes, Jesus promises us a safe landing, but no, He does not promise us smooth sailing. He does not promise us a trip on the love boat. In fact, you read the words in red in the 4 Gospels, and time again, He warns us about the storms, the wind, and the waves that are going to come to our life. But when these storms do come, notice the next precious truth: His power. His power. In verse 39, we see His awesome and amazing power when He whacked the wind, walloped the waves, spanked the sea, and stilled that storm. Now here's what I want you to do for a moment. This is verse 39. I want you to think of some verses 39 in your life. We all got them. Think of verses 39 in your life. Think of all the storms He's brought you through. Think of all the winds and the waves that He's calmed for you. Think of all the problems He's solved for you. Think of all the perils He's rescued you from. Think of all those times He kept your boat from going under. Think of all those ways He kept you afloat. Think of all the verse 39s in your life and know that it was His power and His power alone that kept you up on the water, still moving to the other side and not allowing you to sink to the bottom of the ocean floor. Don't ever forget the verse 39s in your life. And then because of His amazing power, we come to His performance. You remember what Jesus said in the very first verse of our text? Let us go over to the other side. Okay, look at the last verse. Then they came where? To the other side. Does Jesus keep his promise and pledge to get us to the other side? Does he fulfill his vow to get us to the other side? Does he keep his word? Does he do what he says? Yes. Yes. He did with them and he does with us. He always keeps his word. Jesus makes his promise that if we make him the captain of our boat, the Savior of our soul, and the Lord of our life, we will make it to the other side. Now, for those disciples that day, the other side was the country of the Gadarenes. The other side for us is where? You know where I'm talking about. I'm talking about heaven. I'm talking about heaven. And there is no way to get to the other side except the way they got to the other side, with and through Jesus Christ. But with you and Jesus Christ in the same boat, my friends, there is no one and no thing that can keep you from making it to the other side. Mount Carmel, Tennessee is stuck. They have no other side to go to. You do. The other side is heaven. And he's built it for you. And he's taking on passengers right now and right here for the trip. And so our invitation is very simple and very straightforward. Come and get on board. Come and get in the boat with Jesus Christ. And if you will, my friend, I promise you, you will make it to the other side.